Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to show you the cold email stack that I use in 2026 and what I'd start with if I was building from zero. So everyone overcomplicates this. If you search cold email tools, you'll find 47 different options, comparison articles arguing which platform is the best, and agency owners flexing expensive setups that make no sense for someone actually just getting started. The reality is that a functional cold email system doesn't require many tools. It requires the right tools used in the right order for the right reasons. I've tested enough of them to know what actually matters and what's just noise. This doc is the exact stack I use at Workflows, why I chose each tool, what each one does, and what I'd start with if I was building from scratch today. This is part of an ongoing series where I'm documenting my cold email campaigns in real time. If you haven't watched the earlier videos yet, start from the infrastructure setup and deliverability guides first, and they provide the context that this video is built on. So my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do on this YouTube channel in real time, the tools, the campaigns, the results, and the mistakes. What's in this doc is the actual stack that I use. It's not some sponsored recommendation list. So the 4 problems your tech stack has to solve. Before listing tools, it's worth understanding what a cold email stack is actually solving. There are 4 distinct problems. Number 1 is the infrastructure. Buying, configuring, and warming up domains and mailboxes so emails actually land in inboxes instead of spam. Number 2 is the lead sourcing. Finding the right people to contact, the right company size, the role, the geography, and the industry. Number 3 is the sequence management. Writing the campaign, scheduling the sends, managing the replies, and running follow-ups automatically. And lastly is the data enrichment. The cleaning, the verifying, and the personalization of your lead data before it goes anywhere near a campaign. So every tool in a cold email stack is solving one of these 4 problems. If you understand that, you stop adding tools for the sake of it and start being deliberate about what actually needs to exist in your system. A tech stack should solve your problems, it shouldn't create new ones. If you're spending more time managing tools than running campaigns, your stack is the problem. So, the full stack. The first on the list is Scaled Mail, which does the infrastructure management. Scaled Mail is a done-for-you cold email infrastructure service. You pay them, they buy your domains, they create your mailboxes across Google Workspace and Microsoft Outlook, and they configure all your DNS records, connect everything to SmartLead, and manage your warm-up for you. Now, I use it because infrastructure is one of the most technically demanding parts of cold email, and the one with the highest cost of getting wrong. If your DNS records are misconfigured, nothing else matters. If your mailboxes aren't warmed up, nothing else matters. And Scaled Mail removes all of that from my plate. Now, I'm personally on the $184 a month plan, which gives me 14 sending domains, 74 mailboxes, split between 50 Microsoft Outlook inboxes and 24 Google Workspace ones. And they're all fully configured and connecting to SmartLead automatically through Scaled Mail. I didn't even have to lift a finger. Now, who is this for? Anyone who doesn't want to manually configure their DNS across all of their domains and manage a warm-up schedule across their various mailboxes. Now, that's basically everyone. I don't know which crazy person wants to do this themselves. Now, what it's not a sending platform. All Scaled Mail does is sets up and manages the infrastructure. The actual campaign sending happens in SmartLead. If you try to set up your cold email infrastructure manually without knowing what you're doing, I'm just warning you now, you will burn your domains. Scaled Mail exists to prevent exactly that. Number 2 on the list is Namecheap, which is your domain registration. Namecheap is a domain register and you buy your sending domains from here. Now, if you want to use any other third-party domain provider like GoDaddy, feel free to do that. Now, why I use Namecheap is because it's the one Scaled Mail recommends and works with. It has a clean interface, it's got very straightforward DNS management, reliable uptime, and very cheap domains as well, obviously, in the name. It's typically around $11 per year per domain. Now, my setup is the 14 domains registered through Namecheap, all brand variations of Workflows. The domain naming strategy is simple. Take your main brand and prefix or suffix it with common action words. For example, buildworkflows.com, contactworkflows.com, getworkflows.com, and goworkflows.com, and so on. I used ChatGPT to generate 20 variations of these, and I picked the 14 that sounded the most natural. And all of them together cost me about $13 a month. Now, what this is not, your main website does not live here. Your primary domain should never be a sending domain. Keep them completely separate. Number 3 on the list is Apollo, which is where you're going to get your leads from initially. Apollo is a B2B contact database with over 275 million contacts. You filter by industry, company size, location, job title, revenue, headcount, and dozens of other criteria to build a targeted list of prospects. Then you export those verified contact details. Now, I use this database because it's enormous and the filters are granular enough to get genuinely targeted. For my staffing and recruitment niche, I can filter to recruitment agencies with 1 to 20 employees in the US, and for founders and owners with a verified email. That's exactly who I want to reach, and Apollo can find them. Now, you use this for building the initial prospect list. I pull contacts from Apollo, and then that list goes into Clay for cleaning and enrichment before it goes anywhere near Smartlead. Now I use this for building the initial prospect list. Now I pull that list from Apollo, and that list goes into Clay for cleaning and enrichment before it goes anywhere near Smartlead. Now, how I actually extract this data. Rather than paying a stupid amount of money for Apollo exports directly, I scrape Apollo using Boomerang. It's a significantly more cost-effective tool at scale. Boomerang runs on a credit system starting at $10 a month for 10 credits, and a single Apollo export with 10 credits gets you up to 3,300 leads. I've already covered this workflow on the channel, so go and check out the Boomerang Apollo scraping video before you spend any money on Apollo credits directly. So free versus paid. Apollo's free tier is usable for small tests, but obviously for running campaigns at volume, the Boomerang scraping method is the way to go. The $10 a month versus paying for Apollo's full export pricing is a no-brainer. Apollo is not a silver bullet for list quality. Apollo data needs verification before you start sending. Bounce rates on unverified Apollo exports can be high enough to damage your sender reputation. Bounce rates on unverified Apollo exports can be high enough to damage your sender reputation. Be careful here and always verify it. Number 4 is Clay for data enrichment and list cleaning. Clay is a data enrichment platform. You bring in a list and Clay can verify emails, pull in additional data points from dozens of sources, run AI-powered personalization at scale, and output a clean, enriched list ready to import into Smartlead. I use Clay because list quality is the difference between a campaign that works and one that damages your infrastructure. Clay sits between Apollo and Smartlead and does the work of making sure every contact in the list is worth sending to. Now for email verification, I use Zero Bounce, which removes invalid or risky addresses. I clean the company name, which strips legal suffixes like Pty Ltd, LLC, and Inc. before they hit my subject lines and email copy. And I also use LinkedIn data enrichment, which pulls the headcount, recent posts, company description, and personalization. Now, Clay is not a simple tool. It has a steep learning curve. But once you understand how the tables and integrations work, it becomes one of the most powerful parts of the stack. Clay is where a generic list becomes a targeted, personalized, verified campaign ready to send. Now, Zero Bounce is for email verification. Zero Bounce validates email addresses before you send them. It identifies invalid addresses, spam traps, role-based addresses like info@ and admin@, and catches all domains and other risky email types that can tank your sender reputation. Now, I use Zero Bounce because high bounce rates are one of the fastest ways to damage your sending reputation. A bounce rate above 2 to 3% starts signaling to inbox providers that you're sending to an unverified list, which leads to deliverability problems across your mailboxes, and Zero Bounce removes that risk entirely. Now, how do I use this tool? It's integrated directly into Clay as a column action. Every email in the list gets run through Zero Bounce as part of the enrichment workflow, and anything that comes back as invalid, risky, or spam gets removed before the list ever gets exported into Smartlead. Now, what is this going to cost you? It costs $99 a month for the Zero Bounce 1 plan, which includes 10,000 validation credits per month, and includes inbox placement tests, blacklist monitoring, and DMARC monitoring as well. Now, the credits never expire, so unused ones just roll over into the next month. Now, this is not optional. If you skip email verification, you will burn your sending domains. It's not a question of if, it's when. Now, if you don't want to use Zero Bounce, the other option is to use Mailtester Ninja. Now, I would advise against this just because to actually use Mailtester Ninja inside of Clay, you need to be on the second top plan, I believe, which costs at least a couple of $100 a month. So it's far more economical to be on the free plan or the very bottom plan of Clay and use the Zero Bounce plan for $99 a month. So Smartlead, campaign management and sending. Smartlead is the platform where campaigns actually run. You upload your lead list, you write your email sequence, you set your sending schedule, and Smartlead distributes sends across your mailboxes automatically. It also handles reply management, campaign analytics, and A/B testing. Now, I use Smartlead because it handles the mailbox rotation natively, which means it automatically distributes sends across all of my 74 mailboxes to stay within my sending limits. The interface is clean, the reply inbox is solid, and the A/B testing subject lines is built in. It also integrates directly with Scaled Mail, so the setup is seamless. Now, I'm on the $94 a month plan, which gives me 90,000 email sends per month and up to 30,000 active contacts. The base plan at $39 a month is fine during the warm-up when you're not sending at volume yet, but you should really switch to the Pro before you launch your first campaign. Now, a key feature to note is Smartlead's warm-up pool runs in the background continuously. Your mailboxes are sending warm-up emails to each other and to other Smartlead users' mailboxes the whole time they're live, which keeps your sender reputation healthy, even between campaigns. Now, I would advise you to bring your own list to Smartlead like we've gone through in the video so far. Smartlead has just added its own Apollo-like database, but it is far more expensive, so I'd recommend you go through the Apollo Boomerang approach. Smartlead is where the campaign lives, and it's where everything else in the stack feeds into. And lastly, we're going to look at LinkedIn, which is the prospect research and the spot checking. LinkedIn is the professional network. In the context of cold email, it's used for two purposes: prospect research when building targeted criteria, and spot checking clean lists before a campaign actually goes live. Now, I use LinkedIn because Apollo and Clay between them get you most of the way there, but a quick LinkedIn spot check on 20 to 30 contacts from a clean list tells you a lot about the list quality. You can verify that the job titles are accurate and that the companies are real and the right size and that the leads actually match your ICP. Now, I don't use it for scraping at scale. That's what Apollo and Boomerang are used for. For manual verification of a sample of contacts before sending, and for informing the targeting criteria I set in Apollo in the first place. Now, LinkedIn is not a substitute for Apollo. Now, LinkedIn's native export and data quality for cold email purposes is limited, so use Apollo for list building and LinkedIn for spot checking. So this is a stack condensed into a short little table. So it should be costing you about $390 a month in total. Something else to mention is you don't have to pay for these all the time. For example, after you purchase all the leads from Boomerang and Apollo, you can stop paying for that monthly scraping subscription. Similarly, for Zero Bounce, you don't have to pay for the $99 a month every month. You can just pay for a couple of months, and obviously the credits do roll over, so you can just use your remaining credits. Obviously, you should be sending a lot of emails and testing various campaigns and niches, so you should be keeping them all active, but if you are tight on money, this is just something to keep in mind as well. So the order that matters. The tools aren't just a list, they're a sequence. Getting the order wrong means problems down the road. So step number 1 is ensuring that your infrastructure is solid first. Scaled mail and Namecheap come before anything else. Domains bought, DNS configured, mailbox created, and the warm-up started. Nothing else moves forward until the infrastructure is live and warmed up. Secondly, define your ICP. Before touching Apollo, know exactly who you're targeting. Industry, company size, headcount range, geography, job title. The tighter the ICP, the higher quality the list will be. Step number 3 is building the raw list in Apollo first. Apply your filters first, then scrape with Apollo and export to a CSV. This is your raw material, not the final list. Now you take that CSV you exported from Boomerang and chuck it into Clay. You run your Zero Bounce verification, you clean the company names, you pull any additional enrichment data you need for personalization, and you generate personalized first lines if you're using them. Step number 5 is import the clean list into Smartlead. You write your sequence, you configure your sending schedule, and you set up A/B variants on your subject lines and you launch. Step number 6 is to monitor and respond. Check the Smartlead reply inbox daily. Respond to positive replies quickly, and track what's generating replies and what isn't across all of your campaigns. Skipping or reordering steps is how campaigns fail. Infrastructure before leads and verification before sending. Remember that order. Now, what I would cut if I was starting with a smaller budget. Not everyone here starts with $390 a month in fixed costs. If your budget is tight, here's how to think about it. Scaled mail is non-negotiable. Bad infrastructure kills everything. Smartlead, you can keep the base plan at $39 a month during the warm-up, and then you can upgrade to Pro before launching. The Apollo free tier is fine with Boomerang, depending on how many leads you want with Boomerang. Now, you don't have to buy a Clay plan straight away. It's powerful, but it has a learning curve. Manual verification is slower, but works to start. Now, you can also defer the Zero Bounce subscription. You still have to do it obviously just natively inside of Zero Bounce, instead of automating it through Clay. So the minimum viable stack is Scaled Mail plus Namecheap plus Smartlead, and that should cost you around $236 a month. That's enough to start a real campaign. Start with the minimum viable stack and then add tools as you understand what you actually need. Don't buy Clay before you've actually run your first campaign. So there are some tools I've looked at that I don't personally use, but it is something to consider as well. So I've used Instantly before as well, which is Smartlead's main competitor, which is solid. Now, I chose Smartlead because of its direct scaled mail integration and the way that it handles the mailbox rotation, but either work. Lemlist is strong on the personalization and image personalization features. However, it is more expensive and more complex than I need for the campaigns that I'm running. Hunter.io is an email finding tool, but Apollo covers this better for my use case with the more granular filtering. Now, similarly, Snov.io is similar to Apollo. Apollo's database is larger and the filtering is more powerful for B2B outreach at the volume that I'm running. Expandy and Dripify are LinkedIn automation tools. I personally don't automate LinkedIn outreach. I use it for research and manual spot checking only. So what good infrastructure enables? The reason this stack matters isn't the tool themselves. It's what a properly configured stack allows you to do. With clean infrastructure, verified lists, and a well-configured sending platform, you're able to send close to 1,000 emails per day across your mailboxes without hitting spam within the first month. You can run multiple campaigns simultaneously to different ICPs. You can A/B test your copy and subject lines and get a meaningful signal quickly. You can maintain sender reputation across your domains for months without burning out, and you can scale your volume as the warm-up progresses without starting over. The alternative is starting with a bad infrastructure, unverified lists, and misconfigured DNS, which burns all of your domains, guarantees spam folder placement, and the campaigns that generate nothing regardless of how good the copy is. Get the stack right first, and everything else gets easier from there. So the next video in this series is going to cover how to find any hiring manager's email address, the Exactapolar and Boomerang workflow that I use to build targeted lead lists before every campaign. I'm documenting everything here on this YouTube channel in real time, the tools, the campaigns, the copy, and the results. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. With that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.